When I'm working with business lawyers or real estate lawyers, negotiating a contract, whether it be a lease or some other kind of agreement, I want to help you make sure that you're avoiding insurance coverage problems. One of the most frequent problems I see is outdated insurance requirements in contracts. As lawyers, we typically will recycle the language that we have found to be successful in the past. But unfortunately, most business lawyers don't understand insurance, and so you tend to recycle the same insurance language, not realizing that you're actually asking for policies that haven't been offered for 30 years. If you're like me, you draft your contracts so that when there's a dispute, you can predict the outcome of that dispute as best you can. And you can't do that if your contract language is unclear or outdated. So I think it's important to clean up that outdated language and make sure that you understand with some degree of certainty how the courts are going to interpret it if there's a dispute about insurance. One of the most common provisions that you as a business lawyer are going to be dealing with is the additional insured requirements in a contract. Whether you're requiring that for your client or vice versa, it's being required of your client. And it's important to understand the scope of that. So for example, sometimes contracts ask for additional insured status for a variety of parties. The other side, their company, their directors, officers, et cetera, but they don't understand the insurance policies don't usually provide additional insured status for those additional parties that aren't in privity of contract with your client. That can be solved, but you need to watch for that, and a lot of business lawyers don't understand that. So one of the key insurance provisions to look out for in business contracts is the provision that requires additional insured status. When you see the additional insured requirements in a contract, one thing you should watch out for is, are you being asked to provide additional insured status under policies for which that status is unavailable? For example, professional liability or workers' compensation. So sometimes these contracts will purport to require additional insured status for those policies, and it's really not available. So we talk about how to fix those kinds of problems so that the expectations that clients have are being met, and vice versa, that we're telling them that certain kinds of coverages that they think they're going to be asking for in a contract really can't be met. So let's talk about insurance due diligence. So as a transactional lawyer, you conduct due diligence as part of every deal. And you're probably really good at looking at a lot of different aspects of due diligence, but most transactional lawyers don't know insurance policies. And so I think that that part of the due diligence often doesn't get the attention that it should. We can help you do that. This is all we do. We do insurance coverage, we've done due diligence many times, and we're not going to come in and compete with you for your client. We're going to help you serve your client. So another key issue to look out for when you're looking at insurance requirements in business contracts is synchronizing the indemnity requirements and the insurance requirements. And whichever side you're on, you need to be mindful about what you're asking for in terms of indemnity, but also most commonly you're seeking to have the insurance requirements match that indemnity. In other words, the insurance that you're requiring in a contract should back up those indemnity requirements. And it's important to understand that if you're asking for insurance coverage that you think is broader than those indemnity requirements, the insurance companies are actually these days tying the additional insured coverage to the indemnity. So if you think you're getting broader coverage than the indemnity, you should be aware that that's probably not happening. And you need to make sure that you're synchronizing both the indemnity and the insurance requirements to transfer the risk you think are being transferred. You're really good at negotiating all the other parts of the contract. I know insurance coverage, so I can help you make sure that the insurance provisions in that contract are right and that you're asking for the right kinds of coverage to protect your client.